If you want to better understand yourself and how to better interact with others, you need to understand your values. That's why The Minimalist created a free, downloadable, and printable values worksheet that will help you identify all of your different values and the obstacles that are in your way. Head on over to theminimalists.com/V to download your free values worksheet today. Enjoy.
The Minimalists.
What are some good ways to check in on an introvert during difficult times without overwhelming them? So, Josh, this question is for you.
Don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the biggest introvert I know. I have a wife and a daughter, and I spend 70+% of my time alone.
Well, some introverts don't, like, they need help, but they won't ask for it. I don't think you're that type of person, but I think that I do.
I do struggle with it, though.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So, yeah, I do see where this question is coming from. But I literally, like, Josh has called me before, and he's like, hey, man, I'm having a rough time. You're not going to hear from me for a week, and don't call me. And I'm like, okay. Like,
Yeah,
if you need that time, man, like, that's
the key, though, man.
Yeah.
You just hit the nail on the head. It's being understanding of the person where they are, right?
Yeah.
Well, what does compassion mean, right? It comes from two words. The Latin cum.
Is that Latin? It is. I didn't know I spoke Latin.
Which ironically means to be in.
his bedroom is covered in Latin.
I have a Latin bed sheet. That's nice.
And then passus, which means it's the same root as passion, which means to suffer. So compassion just means to be in suffering with someone. And so, like, if you're trying to be compassionate towards someone, it's understanding their suffering where they are. You don't. By the way, this is where I fail all the time. And I don't know if you experience this at all, but I always try to solve the problem.
Yeah.
I'm like, wife comes to me. Look, I just uncovered some trauma recently.
Here's what you should do.
Well, great. I've got the 3-step solution to fix this for you.
Yeah.
And I've learned over the last year or two, specifically, to really just step back and listen. And that's the compassion. Yeah. And you don't have to feel the suffering with them. That's empathy, right? The feeling whatever someone else feels. But being in the suffering with them is quite often all you need to do. Bear witness.
It took me the first couple years of the marriage till she finally said, I don't need you to solve this. I need you to listen. And I was like, well, that's against my instinct.
Well, here's why you need that. The reason why you don't want me to solve your problems is because
it was I was always in solution mode.
Yeah.
Right, well, you saw it as binary. It's like if you saw it as like the handyman coming to fix, or the plumber showing up to fix the faucet, right?
But why would you tell me there's a problem if you don't want me to fix it?
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Where it's like, well, there is a problem, but the solution is you listening.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
And man, it's still hard for me now.
Yeah.
It's like you call the plumber and he shows up with a chainsaw. See, there's a 30s for a chainsaw.
Well, I think it's not intuitive to us because it's like calling the plumber and he shows up to just listen that there's a pipe leaking, and then he leaves and you pay him $60.
Wait a minute.
Wait a second.
Yeah, that is a leaky pipe.
Yeah, you know what? Your instinct was right. Your pipes are fucked up.
So yeah, I mean, I think that is the key. And by the way, we're all hypocrites. Understanding that as well. Wrote this essay recently over on our website. It's called "Compassion for Hypocrites." But I think the first line of it is the man who protests capitalism using a chainsaw, or using I got chainsaws in my.
Oh my God! There's a fourth. There's a fourth use for a chainsaw.
The man who protests capitalism using the megaphone he purchased from Walmart, and I think there are a bunch of other examples there, like the vegan who sprays
leather
insecticide
We're all
on her
hypocrites.
garden, right?
All of us are hypocrites. Yeah.
And instead of the final one was like the minimalist who owns 6 jackets. That's me,
Right.
And like I realized that
You
I
live in LA, man.
right.
Sometimes you're in Boyle Heights.
There are
sometimes
6.
you're in Atwater Village.
There are
you know?
6 seasons here in Los Angeles.
You might be in Los Feliz. You might be change it down to 62 degrees instead of 67.
God, you have a jacket for every 8-degree increment.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's perfect. By the way, like I've never needed a jacket here either. But that's my point. I'm a hypocrite. Like, have compassion for me, and I will do my best to have compassion for other people as well. And some people, like that was a really popular thing, and it spread. But some people really misunderstood it.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
They were
I saw the
like,
comments.
They were like, look at but here's a list of some other hypocrites. I'm like, no, you didn't read the rest of the thing. It was about why we need to
Right.
have compassion for other people, why it's necessary to bear witness, because we're all a little bit fucked up.
Well, when we judge hypocrites, it's because we're looking at that person and we think to ourselves, we can never be a hypocrite like that. So we project this judgment that really we're putting on ourselves. But if we took a second to stop and look, we could realize like, oh, like we are hypocrites in our own way. So, and I'm easy on myself with it. Like I use an Apple computer. I mean, if I really think about it, I feel like a piece of shit for using an Apple computer with the damage it does to the environment, the factories over in China. It's like, but I can get through it. And I can be like, all right, Ryan, you're not a piece of shit for using an Apple computer. So yeah.
It's so much better than PC. You're like, so fucking.
Right, exactly. I would use PC.
You know what? Factory schmactory. This
Factory
fits in my backpack.
Dude,
It's the person tweeting about income inequality
Yeah.
on a device that was made by underpaid workers, right?
Right, yeah.
100. It's one of the big problems some people have with, which I don't, with NBA players right now, not speaking out against China because China is such a big purchaser
Of the NBA.
of the NBA.
Yeah.
And the NBA gets so much money. And if we're talking about people's rights,
Yeah.
who's, it doesn't get much more egregious than what happens over in China, you
Oh
know?
my God,
True.
yeah.
So I know some people some people consider that to be, but here's kind of where I fall on the hypocrite thing. Look, you're always more interested in what's happening in your house than somebody else's. So I'm going to care more about what's happening here than what about the women's rights in Saudi Arabia? Yeah, unfortunately, I don't live there. So
Yeah.
it doesn't, if I'm being honest with you,
We didn't evolve to care about
yeah.
someone
Yeah, it
on
doesn't
the other side of the
resonate.
We
world.
don't have the capacity to care for every single problem and every single
it doesn't resonate. It doesn't resonate with you. Can you wait 1 second? I have to. There's a dude I'm supposed to hop on a Zoom with at 1. I just
Oh.
want to tell him it's gonna be 1:30.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, cool.
Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I'll just keep talking real quick. So let me get back to Peter's question here. As an introvert, let me just say this.
How do you want to be approached, Josh?
Yeah, I as an introvert, that's the irony. Is like I don't usually want to be approached.
But what if
right?
you really need help though, and like you're struggling asking for help?
Right, but I think it's up to me to determine whether or not I need help. Right.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Like,
So maybe that's the way to approach it. Hey, I see you're going through a rough time. Can I help?
Yeah, I think that's a bad way to approach it. Actually, I don't think ever asking someone how can I help is useful. I think maybe I shouldn't say ever. That's wrong. But I think quite often it's best to if you really want to help someone,
Yeah.
know who they are and what they need, and just try to help in that way instead of asking how you can help. Now, how do you get to know who they are? You spend time with them. You have these discussions. You identify what your values are. And if you do that, then if someone needs help, you can say, hey, I'll listen. I'm here to listen.
So maybe
if you
maybe
need
it's
to talk.
opening up an opportunity to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of flat out saying, how can I help? Yeah. Listening to the person, then maybe they might, signal a way for you to help by
Yeah.
just listening to them. Or maybe that's all they need.
Yeah.